Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top 8 deck lists for a 44-person event. It was the Enchanted tournament hosted by Cardinvestor. This event took place on the 2nd of March, the same day as the large online tournament that I reported on a couple of days ago. I meant to get this up sooner. Apologies, I've been very, very busy doing home stuff. And I played D&D regularly with a group of friends, and we had like the last 3 weeks off, and then we were back to it Tuesday night, and I was hosting, so I needed to get myself back together for that. But yeah, we're going to be taking a look at the top 8 deck list for this event, and then on top of that, I'm also going to look at another event which was on the same day, on the 2nd of March, which was hosted by Bunker Gaming and was a 2K event. There are only 5 of the top 8 deck lists available for that particular event, but I'm still going to go over them. But when I go over that event, it won't be in my normal, it won't look the same. I haven't remade those decks in my own Dreamborn. I have for the top 8 for the Enchanted tournament that we're going to look at, but then for the last 5 deck lists, we will just go courtesy of inkdecks.com, which is where I'm getting my information. Thank you to them, as always, for being a wonderful source of information. But other than that, let's take a look at some deck lists. And if you like the look of any of these deck lists, but you think, oh, drat, I'm missing 1 or 2 cards from that particular list, well, you know what you should do? Check out Cardmarket for all your trading card game needs. So this event was a flood of Emerald. We have 4 Emerald Amethyst decks, 2 Emerald Steel decks, and 2 Ruby Amethyst. So Emerald Amethyst picking up another dub. It was Emerald Amethyst that won the Battle Bear event that took place not too long ago. And yeah, I think that most of the hype was behind Emerald Steel, and rightly so. That's a great deck, but I really think Emerald Amethyst is going to be one of the top contenders. And yeah, brought home the gold on this particular event. So let's start off. We've got Termina Toasts with some EA Hyper Aggro. Really quickly win the game. So we've got 4. This is a really clean looking list. We've got 4 copies of Chernobog's Followers, which I've highlighted a few times. I'm a big fan of. Just a really diverse card. It can check opposing characters with an X2 stat line. Quest for 1. We can just sit there and quest if there's no opposing threats, and we can draw a card, or we can draw a card along with our questing just to help us find pieces that we want to see, deck thinning, all sorts of stuff. And of course, there's a 1-drop to support our Madam Mim, Snake, and Fox, who are here at a 4 count each. We are a Hyper Aggro deck, so of course we're running as many of the low-cost, high-questing characters as possible. We've got 4 copies of Maleficent Biding Her Time, questing for 2 as a 1-1. We've got 4 copies of the new Cursed Merfolk, who's also a 1-cost uninkable, 0-1, but also questing for 2, and Poor Souls. If they are challenged, then the opponent must discard a card. Similar to that, we've got 4 copies of Flynn Rider, who has the same effect, also quest for 2, with a 1-2 stat line. We've got 4 copies of Kuzco here, 2-cost inkable, 1-2, quest for 1, and when he's banished, you draw a card. So just helping us flood our field, more options to bounce back to our hand, and again, just drawing us cards, just being really nice and consistent here, maxing out on the draw cards open to us. 4 copies of Pinocchio, one of our most powerful Hyper Aggro characters, 2-cost uninkable, 1-1, questing for 3. We've got 4 copies of the Enchantress, 2-cost inkable, 1-1, quest for 2, and True Form. While being challenged, this character gets +2 strength, so becoming a 3-1 when she's challenged, which quite often takes out the opposing threat, and she's just another cheap high questing character. We've got 4 copies of the new Ursa the Deceiver to remove songs from the opposing hand, so making us feel better about extending our board against Be Prepared options, Grab Your Swords options, things like that. We've got 4 copies of Arthur, Wizard's Apprentice, very powerful card that we haven't seen a lot this format so far, but in Hyper Aggro it still finds its place. 3-cost uninkable, 1-3, quest for 1, and Student. Whenever this character quests, you may return another chosen character of yours to your hand to gain 2 lore. So this is keeping our character safe. We can quest with Maleficent and then return it to our hand with Arthur so that it can't be taken out. Potentially we've got enough ink to then immediately put it back down. And again, just the spike in lore is very, very strong. And we can protect Arthur courtesy of Madam Mim, Snake, and Fox to just bounce him back to our hand. So great card. 4 copies of Maleficent. Like I said, we are maxed out on all of our drawing cards. No friends on the other side in this deck that I do notice. But other than that, we're full on the draw, including the 4 rabbits. We've got 4 goat here for the lore bump. 2 copies of Cheshire Cat. 3-cost inkable, 0-3, quest for 2. And when this character is challenged and banished, banish the challenging character. quester. So an annoying quester that you can't really just ignore. You can subvert this by smashing it or just a combination of other ping damage cards, but generally he just helps you control the board because they don't want him sitting there. They want to challenge into it. So yeah, it's going to help us control the board. And then we've also got 2 copies of the Shift Pinocchio on the run. 5 cost uninkable, 3/3, quest for 2, shift 3, and listen to your conscience. When you play this character, you may return chosen character or item with cost 3 or less to their player's hand. So obviously this can shift on top of one of our baby Pinocchios. This came up towards the end of season 2, and I said then I was a fan, because I talked about the significance of just Befuddle, which is bound to 2 cost or less character or item. Similar to Kit, who's not in this deck, one of the newer cards from Into the Inklands, although he bounces a character with 2 strength or less. So just sometimes that can be better because there are higher cost characters that still only have 2 strength. But yeah, there's just as many targets with a cost of 3 that this will be a great target for opposing Ursula Deceivers, the 3 drops, and lots of other things. So yeah, I do like the Pinocchio. Like I said, no Kit in this particular deck, and I do really like Kit, but I suppose if this is doing a similar job a lot of the time, I don't know, I feel like I would maybe still want to get a couple of kits in here, maybe for the Cheshire Cat, but again, Cheshire Cat is one of our 2 questers, which we've got a lot of, but this person clearly felt like they needed the extra higher quester slash potential character removal. But yeah, really good looking deck, led them all the way to first place. Pinocchio on the run, something to keep an eye on, but yeah, huge congratulations to them. We'll look at all of our Emerald Amethyst decks in a row. So going to top 4, we've got a different build which is utilising the Ursula Deceiver of all. So obviously the Hyper Aggro version didn't feel the need for even this powerful card or any songs. It's just committed to its questing quest. But yeah, this deck a lot more traditional for modern Emerald Amethyst, taking advantage of Ursula. When this character sings a song, you may play that song again from your discard for free, then put it at the bottom of your deck. So with Friends on the Other Side, that's draw 4, and with Mother Knows Best, that's return 2 characters to the opposing hand. Both really, really strong plays. We're running the Chernobyls here as well. We've also got 3 copies of Rafiki with Challenger 3 to be a nice 3/2 beat stick when he's challenging for a 1-drop, so helping us control the board. Only 2 Snake in here, the 4 Fox, 4 Goat, 4 Rabbit, the 4 Flynn, 4 Ursa Deceiver. We've got 4 Crab here to make our smaller characters stronger. Also good going into locations. One of the main reasons that Crab has gained in popularity so much, just to be able to take out these big bulky buildings. 3 Cloud Kicker in here, as I mentioned before, to return characters of 2 strength or less back to the player's hand. Great tempo. 3 copies of Tinkerbell to be another annoying quester with her evasive ability, so if they don't have evasive answers, she's going to make you pay. 2 copies of Yzma, which can just be hard removal if something got to go, or we can bounce our own characters back into our deck just to get a nice little draw bump. Just 1 copy of Genie on the Job, also an evasive 2 quester, same as Tinkerbell, but a 3/4 stat line and disappear. When you play this character, you may return chosen character to their player's hand, so just stopping our opponent from playing the game. Just bouncy things. As I said, the 4 Friends, the 3 Mother Knows Best, and 4 copies of the Queen's Castle for every character there at the beginning of your turn. Draw a card and 2 passive lore gain, one of Amethyst's best cards. So yeah, another similar shell to what we've looked at before. Lots of draw, not all in on the 4 Mother Knows Best as seems to be traditional with Ursula, but this seemed perfectly reasonable. 7 hits for your 3-drop Ursula, and then turn 4 singing one of these seems more than likely, especially when you add, maybe you've done an extra draw from Chernobog's followers off of that, things like that. So yeah, deck looks good. Congratulations to them. Going into top 8, our next Emerald Amethyst. Some different counts and a couple of additions. The 2 Chernobog's followers. We've got the 2 Maleficent Biding Her Time here for some additional early aggro options, along with the 4 Cursed Merfolk, the 4 Flynn Rider. We've got the 2 Rafiki to be a nice check card. The 4 Snake, the 4 Fox, only 3 copies of Ursula Deceiver. 3 Crabs in here, respect the buildings. 4 Kit, 4 Ursula, 4 Goat, only 2 Rabbit. 3 Tinkerbell, but a higher Genie count of 2. We are seeing the Befuddle here, 1 cost inkable, inkable. Return a character or item with cost 2 or less to their player's hand. So just another great tempo swing and slow our opponent down. 4 friends, all in on the Mother Knows Best. Only 2 copies of the Queen's Castle. And we're also seeing 1 copy of the Sorcerer's Spellbook. 3 cost uninkable. Knowledge. Exert, pay 1 ink, gain 1 lore. So a bit of both. Like the first list was all in on the aggro. The second list was pretty much all in on traditional Ursula, which is aggro in itself anyway. But this one dipping its toes into both with the 2 Maleficent, with the Spellbook. So yeah, and Befuddle for a bit more disruption. So yeah, looks good. Congratulations to them. I missed one of the top 4 lists. We've got Tommy Bow, with again some slight variations. The 2 followers, 3 Rafiki, the 4 of Flynn and Merfolk, only 2 copies of Snake, but 4 Fox. We're seeing 3 Maleficent for the additional draw, 3 Crab, 4 Kit, 4 Ursula, 4 Goat, 3 Rabbit, 2 Tinkerbell, no Genies in here at all, 4 Friends, 3 Mother Knows Best, 4 Castle, but instead we're seeing 3 copies of Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, 3 cost uninkable Song, return chosen character of yours to your hand to play another character with the same cost or less for free. So yeah, like generally you see this in combination with like Bucky decks for your Floodborns and your Lucifers and things like that, but we can still get a lot of value from this. Merlin Crab is suddenly doing a 9 strength boost. It might be more, it might be less. I'm not doing the math, but it'll be a lot bigger. Let's do the math. Let's say we go 1 drop Rafiki, 2 drop whatever, 3 drop Maleficent, and then turn 4 we go Merlin Crab to boost the Rafiki, so it becomes a 3-2 even before the challenger. Then we sing Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo with Maleficent, so Crab returns to our hand, so we get another +3, so Rafiki becomes a 6-2. Then the Crab comes back down, so it becomes a 9-2, and that's before the challenger 3 becoming a 12-2. So yeah, that's one play, and of course just with our Goat and our Rabbit we're drawing more cards, we are gaining more lore. With Ursula we are making them discard more songs, with Maleficent we're drawing more cards, Kit we're bouncing more things. Yeah, I can understand why this got value. So yeah, huge congratulations to them. I told a lie. I said there were 2 Emerald Steel. It's 1 Emerald Steel, 1 Amethyst Steel, and then 2 Ruby Amethyst. So sorry, I'm all about the place. But in top 8, we've got Emerald Steel Beast OTK. Now this is the first event that I've covered where this Beast OTK has made top cuts. In Tier Beasties online tournament, the large one, there were 2 Emerald Steel decks that were running Beast Relentless, but they weren't running Sheriff of Nottingham or the Bayou. There are a couple events that I have missed, so there might be an event where this has made top cut, maybe a couple of smaller ones, and that's not an insult to smaller ones. I would have covered more of the smaller ones if I had the time, but I prioritised the bigger fields. But yeah, from events I've covered, this is the first time that Beast OTK, the whole engine being there, has made top cut. So let's take a look. We've got 3 Captain Hook to be a 1-drop challenger, 3 as well becomes a 3-2 character to be a nice check. We've got 4 of the Robin Hood line, definitely a favourite among new Into the Inklands cards. Being able to shift 3/6 stat line, questing for 2. You draw a card when it's banished, and if you banish something, then you gain 2 lore. In which this is strong in itself, but it's another way that we can sing Whole New World on turn 3 onwards, and of course just any of our other songs. Nice and cheap. We've got 4 copies of Morph to be an additional option for a shift from Robin Hood. Also Tinkerbell can shift onto it, but we are running 2 copies of Tiny Tactician as well, and our Beast Tragic Hero for a nice turn 3 Beast, which is really strong. 3 Ursa Deceiver for the song disruption. 4 copies of Ursa Deceiver of all in this deck, taking advantage of Strike a Good Match, which is draw 2, discard 1. So sung by Ursula, it's draw 4, discard 2. Let the Storm Rage On becomes deal 4 damage and draw 2 cards, and then Strength of a Raging Fire is just the amount of damage equal to the amount of characters you have on the field, and then times 2 for the double sing from Ursula, so still getting a lot of value. And then yes, the Sheriff of Nottingham, who, whenever you discard a card, you can deal 1 damage to an opposing character. We've got the Bayou here, which is a 1-drop location, 1/3 stat line, 1 passive lore gain, and the ability, whenever a character here quests, you may discard and draw a card. And the Beast Relentless, one of the big MVPs of the deck. 6 cost inkable, 4/5, quest for 2, and Second Wind. Whenever an opposing character is damaged, you may ready this character. So we can get value from this ability down to any of our ping cards. If we ping with Tinkerbell, then he's going to re-ready and we can do something else with him. Storm Rage on, Strength of a Raging Fire, whatever it might be. Just exerting Tinkerbell while you've got a Sheriff of Nottingham on the field, that'll get it going as well. So we can do passive ping that way. But the combo we are really looking for is we want to go turn 6 Beast, and then turn 7 we put down the Sheriff of Nottingham for paying 4. We put down the Bayo, so we've paid 5 total. We move the Beast to the Bayo, so we paid 6 total. And then we begin our loop where Beast quests for 2. So the Bayo reads that we've quested, so we get to discard a card. Because we've discarded it and draw a card. Because we've discarded, Sheriff of Nottingham reads that, he pings something on the opposing board, and because we've pinged something, Beast will re-ready. And Beast is one of the rare characters that can be re-readied and doesn't say in its text that it can't quest for the rest of the turn. Most cards that allow you to re-ready things, they say that character can't quest for the rest of the turn. There's a couple of exceptions, Beast being the most notable one. So we get this 3-card combo off, depending on how many characters our opponent has out, because there needs to be targets, there needs to be places for this damage to go. But if there are enough places for this damage to go, then we can just keep doing it and just win the game in like just a few quests, depending on how high on lore we already are. So that is an option here as a quick win combo, but you don't need to be fully reliant on it. Again, Sheriff of Nottingham just doing big ping from playing a whole new world is going to clear boards. The Bayou is passive lore gain, it can't be ignored. And again, if you are questing with characters there, you're just milling through your deck and finding the pieces you need. And we've got other characters there that in themselves are just good. Ursula with her huge damage output courtesy of Storm Rage on or Raging Fire. Robin Hood is good in and of itself. Tinkerbell has always been good. We've got card draw from Beast. So it's an option that we can use, but we don't have to all the time. Personally, I'm not a huge Beast believer. I think it's something that will come up once or twice in occasional top 8s, but it's not the way I personally would build Emerald Steel. I would potentially still use the Beast Relentless, but I don't know if I'd be all in on the Sheriff of Nottingham, even though he's a lot of fun and he is a villain. But this person putting some respect on the name of the Beast OTK combo, so huge congratulations to them. Next, our Amethyst Steel mid-range deck, and very notably, one of the first that we're seeing of these in this format that is not running the Jafar package. And it's not needed. Like, Amethyst Steel is a great deck in and of itself. And if you think of it this way, your Jafar package is essentially 20 card slots. Like, it can give or take. But if you think 4 Royal Vizier Jafar, 4 Dreadnought Jafar, 4 Striking Illusionist Jafar, and then you want to be playing 4 Whole New World, and then you're probably playing 4 Blue Fairy. So that's 20 cards right there. It could be lower. I mean, Zephyr only ran 2 Royal Vizier. There was one Jafar list in Tier Beasties tournament that made top 16 that didn't run the Blue Fairies. So depending on your preference, that number might be a little lower, but that's a pretty standardized words package right there. And if we cut all of that, we do leave a lot of spaces open. So in particular, we've got 4 Razul here to be an additional 2-drop. We've found room for our 4 Goat, which aren't normally making their way into Jafar decks. We've got 4 Fox, which aren't making their way into Jafar decks. 2 Maleficents we found room for. We've also found room for 2 Elsa, which is still as strong as ever. And we found room for the 4 Queen's Castle. So you just take away that Jafar package option and you just give yourself other options like more draw, more board response, more good early drops, Queen's Castle for draw plus lore gain. Elsa's really strong. So yeah, just a different way of running it, but it doesn't surprise me that it did well. We've got 2 Shonebox followers, the 4/4 Robin Hood line, 4 Smee, commonly big. Smee is picking up in popularity, and rightfully so. He's such a strong card. We've got 4 copies of Along Came Zeus, which I think is a good count. 2 Smash, nothing like Fire the Cannons or Baboom here. But the 2 Yzma, the 4 Tink, the 3 Grab Your Swords, the 4 Tragic Hero Beast. So yeah, you do not need the Jafar package to do well with Amethyst Steel. So huge congratulations to this person. And it led them to 2nd place. I don't think I'd mention that because I'm looking at this deck later on in the video. But yeah, did really well for them. So congratulations. And now we've got 2 Ruby Amethyst lists to look at. So we've got 7 1-drops, 4 Rafiki to be a 3 beat stick check, 3 mini with the higher willpower, which can work with our teeth and ambitions and just ensure survivability against chip cards before you can play your Madam in Fox or your Snake. We've got 2 Kuzco for some more card drawing to be another early drop to put down. The 4 Snake, the 4 Fox. We are seeing the 2 copies of Pinocchio, which was very popular in tournaments across this weekend. Lots of targets that make this good, but the Ursula 3 drop is one of the prime ones, because if you can shut that down, then you deny your opponent such a tempo swing. We've got 3 copies of Maleficent here for some additional card draw, and I really like Maleficent coming back into modern Ruby Amethyst because it's another character that hits for 2, which along with Maui gets you the 8 you need for RLS Legacy. It's more card draw, which I think is more important than ever in Ruby Amethyst. Even though it's got a lot, you really need to keep your tempo and be drawing every turn. And it's another cheap character that we can put at the Queen's Castle. So I like the addition. 2 copies of Crab to give us a strength gain for big characters, to get us up to the sort of numbers we need for locations, and can work with our 2 Stylish Surfer Mini, who I do like at a lower count. She's still good, but there's so many answers to her now in the form of everyone's playing more Crabs with their own Stylish Surfers. There's Madame Medusa. I still think there's reason to play her, but I don't disagree with the lower count. 3 Goat, 4 Rabbit, 4 Maui, which I think is more important than ever. We've got 4 copies of Madame Medusa. No Tremaines in this list, going all in on the one that targets 3 strength characters. So Stylish Surfer Minis, Tragic Hero Beasts, a big old list. We are seeing the 2 Maleficent Monstrous Dragon in here. Apparently I was wrong. The format is not too fast for her to make an impact. I mentioned the 3 Teeth and Ambitions for some nice chip. We're not seeing Prince Eric here, who I don't think needs to be in all Ruby Amethyst lists, but does make a nice combo card with Teeth and Ambitions. 4 Friends, 4 Be Prepared, the 4 Queen's Castle, and we are seeing another card that was very popular across this weekend of events in Ruby decks. Maui's Fishhook, 3 cost inkable item. It's Maui time. If you control a Maui, then the Shapeshift ability is free, and the Shapeshift ability reads, Exert. You still always have to exert, even if you have Maui on board. But you pay 2 ink, or you don't if you've got Maui on board, and then you choose one of these. Either chosen character gains evasive into the start of your next turn, or chosen character gains +3 strength. Such a diverse card. Being able to remove the opposing Stylish Surfer Minis, another reason I think they're falling off a little bit, or just any evasive character that you might come across. Make our own characters more annoying so that we can quest more freely and just know that we can't be taken out just from challenging. And the +3 to strength is really significant as well, especially in a format where locations are performing really, really well. So I like this. You notice no Jim here, no RLS Legacy, and I don't disagree with it at all. I've said my thoughts about Jim. I do like him, but the more I play, the more I feel like he's just not even needed. And some people without the RLS Legacy, you are seeing some people still play that even without a Jim, but no, just the 4 Queen's Castle here proving to be enough. And yeah, I like the Maui's Fishhook. I love the Pinocchio. List looks really good. Personally, I'm still leaning towards I like Tremaines. So I do think 1 or 2, it would be nice. But I like the rest of this. I think this is a good, healthy set of 1 count, 1 drops. The Pinocchio, the Maui's Fishhook. I like the Maleficent at a 3. I potentially want a higher crab count. But overall, yeah, I really like the list. So congratulations to them. And then our last Ruby Amethyst list, slightly different. We've got 6 1-drops, 2 Olaf, 4 mini, so opting for the higher willpower, the bigger bodies. 6 is still traumatic to me because that tournament I played last season with only 6 and I didn't see them all day. I will never play less than 7, but works for other people just fine. We've got 3 Kuzco, which I've said I like. Only 2 Snake in here, 4 Fox. We are seeing a 2 count of Jim Hawkins, Thrill Seeker. No, we are seeing the big Jim. But yeah, the 2 cost, who is just a 3/2 statted character. And hey, I don't hate it. It's another low cost character to feed our bounce characters. And again, just being able to spread wide early, especially against Emerald decks, I think is really good. Means we can quest with him more freely and let them be the one to challenge into us, knowing that they're probably taking themselves out with our 3 strength. So I don't know if it's needed, but I don't hate it. 3 Maleficent, the 2 Crab, no Stylish Surfer Minis in here at all. 3 Goat, 3 Rabbit. We are seeing the 4 Jim Hawkins to work with our locations, but no RLS Legacy in here. Seeing the traditional 4 Queen's Castle and 4 copies of Agrabah, which is a 3 cost inkable location, 1 5 stat line, and 2 passive lore gain. And I really like Agrabah, even if that's the thing that it's still a location that demands an answer. Yes, Maui one-shots it, but they're not always going to have it, and you need to make them play their Mauis anyway so you can remove them and then then you want them to play through them so that then later on in the game when you play your 4th Aggro Bar or your 4th Queen Castle or whatever, they don't have easy ways to get around it. If you put this down just hard turn 3 when they didn't play any characters turns 1 or 2 for whatever reason, then that's going to be really annoying. That's going to take them potentially a couple of turns to get round depending on their ink colours and what they've got access to. Maybe they've got purple and they can get a Fox play off, but even then that's not necessarily taken out in 1. So if they have a really passive early game and you go turn 3 Aggro Bar, you're probably getting at least 2 passive lore bumps from this. So I really like it. We are seeing the 2-2 split of Madame Medusa and Tremaine. We're seeing the 3 Dragon's Fire, who I'm really championing. I think it's so important. I'm a big fan of the DF. 3 Teeth and Ambitions. Once again, no Erics. But yeah, deck looks good. Only 3 copies of Friends on the other side. We've seen it before. It's probably fine. We've got 3 rabbits, we've got 3 Maleficents. We're bouncing these things. So yeah, it's probably fine. So yeah, congratulations to them. And that's it for the top 8 deck lists for the 44-person event in Germany. As I mentioned, we are going to go on just a tad, and we're going to look at the available deck lists from the 2K event hosted by Bunker Gaming, which was won by friends of the channel and established players, Lorcana Twins. Obviously, this was just one of them. But yeah, between the 2 brothers, they've got 3 or 4 big top cut event placements now, and they've both made the finals. One of them won and one of them came second in previous Taya Beastie online tournaments, which are always big fields. We had the pleasure of having them on the channel a few weeks back for an interview after one of those events, so great to see the boys doing really well again. And yeah, they took the trophy with Sapphire Steel, which made 2nd place in Taya Beastie's most recent event and is very popular on the ladder all of a sudden. Yeah, it's being championed by a lot of players as being best deck in format, and I have been practicing some Sapphire Steel, and yeah, it's feeling good. We'll cover it in more detail another time for my own experiences. But just to go through the list, we've got the 4 Captain Hook for nice check character, also the 4 Smee, which again with our captain can stop his ability altogether, but even without that, his ability really isn't that bad. Just a 2-drop with a 3/3 stat line, and questing for 2 is really powerful. 4 copies of Porpsicle, 3 Develop Your Brain to find key pieces, 4 Fishbone Quill for the accelerated ramp, which is the name of the game here. We just want to ramp as much as possible, turns 1 to 5, and then get a whole new world play off, and preferably we're singing it with something. So yeah, the most important 3-drop that Sapphire has, but if we don't find it, we also have 2 copies of Mickey Mouse here to ramp that way, 3 copies of Rise of the Titans, respecting locations, 3 copies of Smash for some instant removal of cheaper characters, 2 Along Came Zeus, 4 Flavisham for the card draw to work with our Porpsicles and our Fishbone Quills when he enters play and when he quests, the 4 Wheel of course, the 4 Tragic Hero piece for the card draw, the 4 Cogsworth to be a really annoying character with Ward so he's hard to remove and giving resist 1 to all of our other characters, 3 copies of Grab Your Swords for some spread chip. We've got 3 copies of Gaston Intellectual Powerhouse, who is a great card. He's a 6-cost inkable, but he's normally online before turn 6 due to our ramp. 4/4 is a really respectable stat line. Questing for 3 is big, and Develop Your Brain, just another way that we can dig for a key piece, which this deck often needs to do. It needs to find its Wheel, it needs to find its Along Came Zeus, it needs to find its Grab Your Swords, its Tinkerbell, whatever it is for the moment in question. We've got 2 copies of Robin Hood, who has evasive during your turn, and when you play him, if you've got less cards in your hand than your opponent, you draw a card, and he's another inkable. Not something that I've been playing, but must have put in some work for Lorcana Twin. 4 copies of Tinkerbell. We've got 1 Grandma Tala, one of the newest Floodborn characters. The shift is irrelevant, but 7-cost inkable, 4/8 is big and bulky, quest for 2, and whenever a card is put into your inkwell, gain 1 lore. So we can do this manually just by inking for the turn, but we can also do it from a Mickey Mouse ramp or a Fishbone Quill ramp. So yeah, you could respectably get 2 or 3 lore out of this not long after putting it down. Again, not something I've been running in mine. And when I've been playing mirrors against the Grandma Tala builds, I'm not generally losing so far, but I respect the Lorcana Twins. They know what they're talking about, and it is only a 1-drop and it's inkable at the end of the day. And then 2 copies of Hades that aren't in all Sapphire Steel decks, but I do like it as an add-in. The main target really being Cinderella Stouthearted, who is cropping into more and more decks, and this deck really struggles with the Stouthearted, so I think that's probably one of your main targets for this. Don't get me wrong, Hades is just always good, but he hasn't been in Sapphire Steel decks that we've seen lately. But yeah, I feel the rise in Stouthearted really is contributing towards him coming back into the list. But yeah, looks great. Congratulations to the Lorcana twin. And yeah, we don't have the rest of the lists. We don't have the rest of the top 4, but the rest of the top 8 lists. We've got one Sapphire Amethyst list. Not quite Ladies' Night, almost, but I think there's too many men. Too many men. So yeah, it looks good though. We've got 4 Pascal to be an annoying evasive quester, 4 Rafiki for the check. Cruella de Vil to be an evasive answer. Philatites in here, who's a 2-cost inkable 3/1 with support. Just another beat stick character. I think this is another. I think Locations is what's deeming this slot as good and worthwhile to include. 4 friends, 4 Fox, 2 Crab, 4 Mickey. We've also got 4 copies of Grandma Tala, who is a 4-cost inkable 3/3 quest for 1. When you play this character, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You can put 1 into your hand and the other at the bottom of your deck. So it's more card draw, it's more digging to find the pieces that we need. We can sing How Far I'll Go with Grandma Tala. So yeah, not something I would have thought to have gone in, but it's not the first time I'm seeing her, so maybe better than I initially gave her credit for. As I mentioned, 3 copies of How Far I'll Go, where you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, 1 goes to your hand and 1 into your inkwell, so just more ramp. And as I just said, Grandma Tala can sing it, so can Rabbit. Also running 2 copies of Peter Pan Shadow, who has evasive and rush, and Tiptoe, which gives evasive to your rush characters. So our Madam Mim Fox gains evasive, and that's it. Not sure about this one personally. I don't know if this is necessarily worthwhile. I mean, just Fox is kind of okay. I'm sure it had its uses. But for an uninkable, I don't know. I feel like I want to see another rush character. But did well for this person, so respect it. 2 copies of Queen's Castle with 3 Cogsworth, 2 Let It Go for some more removal, 3 Yzma to be removal / sending cards back to our deck to draw cards, 4 Hades for the removal, and 1 copy of Elsa. So yeah, a couple of choices that I wouldn't have necessarily made myself, but looks good. Congratulations to them. Next, we've got a Ruby Amethyst list here. We are running the Jim Hawkins with the traditional RLS Legacy and the Queen's Castle. We've got 2 copies of Prince Eric in here, and 2 copies of Tevan Ambitions. We are seeing 1 copy of Maui's Fishhook, no Stylish Surfer. We got the split of 2 Tremaine, 2 Madame Medusa, our 4 Maui, 4 Rabbit, 2 Goat, 2 Crab. The 3 Maleficents are like. Our 1 Druts, we've got 4 Mini and 4 Rafiki, so an option to go defensive or offensive. The 2 Kuzco, yeah, looks good. A more traditional version compared to what we've been. A version closer to what we were seeing like the first weekend of format. I say that like the format's been going ages. It's literally like we haven't even had the main big main store release yet, and I'm already talking about the development of the format. But it does move quickly. Most decks started off like this, and I feel like we're transferring more into it's either just for Queen's Castle or maybe Agrabah counts. But yeah, I still like the RLS Legacy. So yeah, congratulations to them. And then finally, we've got a Steel Amber list where I am confused. I don't know if there's a mistake here. Or am I just an absolute buffoon and I am completely missing why? Okay, so we got 4/4 Robin Hood line. Yeah, we've got 4/4 Robin Hood. We're running 4 copies of the Bayou. Just to be another location, and again, if we have got characters there that are questing, then we're digging for our deck. We've got a 4/4 Keeda line, the 2-drop being a bodyguarder, and the 4-drop being, the 5-drop being Shift 3, 3/5 stat line quest for 2, and the ability of when you play her, all characters on the field when you played her get -3 strength until the end of the turn. We've got 4 Bare Necessities, 4 Smee, 4 Smash. We've got 4 Lawrence, who I don't hate. It's a 4/4 when doesn't have damage on him. Quest for 2. I feel like Lawrence is alright. He's fine. We're running 4 copies of Just in Time to rush out our 5-cost characters, which is Keeda, Robin Hood, and Beast. 4 Rapunzel for the card draw. 3 Grab Your Swords. 4 Along Came Zeus. 1 Whole New World. And 4 Captain Hook, Captain of the Jolly Roger. I've got to assume this is a mistake. This is a deck list mistake. If not, and I'm missing something, someone please tell me what I am missing. Because there's no Fire the Cannons here to warrant this. if you just want another 4-cost character that can sing Along Came Zeus, I looked at this earlier. I mean, like, there's Hades, you could go for another uninkable. But you could also just go Pumbaa, who's a 4-cost inkable 3/5 stat line and quest for 1. So, I mean, I know he's a captain, so that means that Mr. Smee won't do self-damage if he's on the board with him. I don't think that's worth 4 extra uninkables, where he's outclassed by other things. Like, Pumbaa is an inkable that outstats him. Hades' ability has got to be used for more of the time. Hey, run Joshua Sweet, 4-cost inkable 1/5 bodyguard quest for 2. So I've got to assume there's a mistake here, so dunno, not sure. But if there's not a mistake and I'm missing something, please can someone educate me as to why I'm wrong. But yeah, nonetheless, congratulations to them. And that's it for our coverage of top 8 deck lists over the previous weekend. Again, sorry that I'm late in reporting on these. I will try to spend the next couple of days catching up. Again, I never get to do all events, but there are a couple that have already taken place that I want to get to, but I also want to get deck profiles and gameplay videos out. But yeah, that's pretty much it, other than one thing that I do want to talk to my audience about is I'm very lucky in that I have been offered a second sponsorship for the channel, which is going to go a huge way in helping to keep me doing this and keep it sustainable and financially viable. The partnership is with Whatnot, and there will be a video coming out in the next few days, which is a box opening video. They've sent me a box, or I haven't had it yet, but they're sending me a box to open for a video on the channel, and we'll plug them, and I've been given my own link so that if you sign up with them via my link, then you get £10 off on your account and you support me directly. But I want to let you know as an audience what that's going to look like. So for the video I do where I do the box opening, then that will be very Whatnot heavy. I will be showing you how to sign up and I'll be plugging it. The logo will be on the screen the entire time. That's an entirely sponsored video. For future content, it won't always be like that. For future videos, it will be very similar to my promotion for Cardmarket, where it's literally just near the beginning of the video, 8 seconds of saying to go check out Cardmarket, and then during the video there's a couple of points where the price of a card pops up on the screen. For my Whatnot thing, it will be very, very similar. Instead of at the beginning of the video, it'll probably be halfway point, like halfway through the top 8 deck lists, and it'll be another really like 5 to 10 seconds of just plugging Whatnot, the logo coming up on the screen, and the link will always be down below. But my aim is to, when I'm doing sponsorship and in video ads, I want to keep it as unintrusive as possible. I don't, unless it gets to a point where I'm being sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends and they're paying me like hundreds and hundreds of pounds, then I will do the 2-minute sponsorship ad in the middle of a video, and you can use the time stamps and skip it. But unless we ever get to that point, which I don't think we will, for sponsorships, I want to try and keep them intrusive, just small plugs where it's not like, oh, you need to skip 2 minutes of a video. Again, if I get offered hundreds of pounds to do Raid Shadow Legends or something, then I'm doing it. But as it stands, I want to try and keep it as unintrusive as possible. So yeah, just wanted to be fully transparent with you guys about what that's going to look like before all that sort of stuff starts hitting the channel. But I'm really grateful for the opportunity. Again, it's really going to help me continue to run this channel. So grateful for all the support that I've had on the channel, from whether you've been here for weeks or months, and we've gained a lot of new subscribers the last few days. So if you're new to the channel, thank you for the support, and I hope you're with me for the long ride. But that's it from me for now. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit the like button to show your support, and we'll see you soon.